Welcome to the Calexico City Council and Calexico Redevelopment Successor Agency and Finance Authority regular meeting. It is Wednesday, May 16th. Could we have a roll call, please, Ms. Clerk?
Mayor Paquito will be absent today. Mayor Pro Tem Pacheco.
Here.
Councilmember Escobar.
Here.
Councilmember Hodge.
Here.
Councilmember Real.
Here.
We have a quorum, sir.
Thank you. Could you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please, Ms.
Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We're going to read the mission statement, Mr. Assistant City Manager, if you will start us.
Together, we pledge to provide effective and efficient services in a courteous and respectful manner to improve the quality of life for all in our unique border community.
Calexico.
Remain standing.
We have Father Jose Sosa from Our Lady. Will lead us into a invocation.
From the Holy Gospel according to John, Jesus said, I am the true vine, and the Father is the vine grower. He takes away every branch in me that does not bear fruit, and every one that does, he prunes, so that it bears more fruit. You are already pruned because of the word that I had spoke to you. Remain in me, as I remain in you. Just as a branch cannot bear fruit on its own unless it remains in the vine, so neither you can give fruit if you are not in me. The Gospel of the Lord. Lord Jesus Christ, this afternoon we ask you to be present among us, that the city of Calexico can we bear fruit. Help this assembly work together with the community at the mission statement that said to improve the quality of life for all the people. Help our leaders that they can work together with this community. Lord Jesus Christ, send upon us your Holy Spirit that we can be brothers and sisters working together for our best and for the best of the community. We are this through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Father.
Thank you.
There was no closed session, so there's no announcements. We can move on with the approval of the agenda, please.
I actually have I guess you call it, I don't know if it's, I'll save it for the next meeting, I guess. I'll motion to approve the agenda as is.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you. These proceedings can be viewed on the website, www.calexicoca.gov, the Friday following the meeting. We have a proclamation. Public Works Week. Does everybody have a copy of what they're going to do?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Whereas the public works service provided in our community are an integral part of our citizens' everyday lives, and whereas the support of an understanding and informed citizenry is vital to the efficient operation of public works system and programs such as water, sewers, streets, parks, public buildings, and the solid waste collection, and
whereas the health, safety, and comfort of this community greatly depends on these facilities and services, and
whereas the quality and effectiveness of these facilities, as well as their planning, design, and construction, is vitally dependent upon the efforts and skill of public works officials, and whereas the efficiency of the qualified and dedicated personnel who staff our Public Works Department is materially influenced by the people's attitude and understanding of the importance of the work they perform, and
whereas on a national level, recognition of Public Works Week enhances public awareness of the essential services and the employees who provide them.
Now therefore, I, Louis Pacheco, Mayor Pro Tem of the City of Calexico, do hereby proclaim the week of May 21st through the 27th, 2018 as National Public Works Week in the City of Calexico, and call upon all citizens and civic organizations to acquaint themselves with the issues involved in providing our public works, and to recognize the contributions with which public works officials make every day of our health, safety, comfort, and quality of life. In witness whereof, I hereunto affix my signature and the official seal of the City of Calexico on the 16th day of May 2018. Is there anybody going to accept the, from Public Works? Do we have?
Public Works Manager.
photo op?
They're all at the pachanga at the tasting and the, we come down. We'll shake hands. So, well, guys.
Hello. Sweetheart. Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, everything's fine.
Lo bueno que se peinaron, ¿no?
Okay. Yeah, yeah. I'll talk to you later. Yeah. Talk to you later.
Right. Public comments and appearances. This is the time for the public to address the City Council on any item not appearing on the agenda that is within the subject matter of the matter jurisdiction of the City Council. I will recognize you, and when you come to the microphone, please state your name and place of residence for the record. While members of the public are encouraged to participate, it is unlawful to disturb or delay the council meeting with personal and slanderous remarks. If the item you wish to comment on is on the consent item, please comment now. The City Council is prohibited by state law from taking action or discussing items not included on the printed agenda. If the item you wish to comment on is on the public portion of the agenda, we will take your comment when we get to the item on the agenda. Please direct your questions and comments to the City Council. Anyone first there, Ms.?
Javier González.
Honorable alcaldes, staff, público, voy a hablar en español porque no esperaba que viniera James Beavers. Estoy aquí representando la feria que acabamos de tener de Feria del Árbol y del Planeta. La hicimos con un evento de salud, seguridad y el bienestar. Le acabamos de dar un reporte al regidor Escobar, que representó al concilio en el comité. ¿Verdad? Ahí se le dan los gastos, no más de $2,000, y la feria creo que para otra semana, en 2 semanas la van a ver, un video que hizo Ivy Press, muy bonito. La alcalde estuvo ahí, estuvo el presidente, habló el presidente también del Jefelon, estuvo la oficina del senador y el asambleísta reconociendo a la policía de Calexico, al departamento al Fire Department de Calexico, y reconociendo el trabajo y labor de la coalición de Housing Safety, que desde el 92 estamos haciendo proyectitos, pero este creo que fue uno de los mejores. No hubo la gente que queríamos, porque pues ya saben que está, pero estuvo perfecto, estuvo bien. Aterrizó el helicóptero, vino McGrath, vino Sparky, todos los niños con su sombrero de bombero, con su listón de ¿cómo? Stay safe, keep away from crime. El Calexico Ribbon Coalition hizo un mural, los niños pusieron su manita de promise to keep away from drugs. Hubo box, hubo de todo, estuvo muy bonito. Venimos a dar las gracias al alcalde, a la ciudad, al manejador y al asistente del manejador, que nos dicen que en 2 semanas van a reconocer a todos los que participaron, porque es la primera. Cuando es la primera nos gusta dejar una marca y darles algo para que la recuerden, como el mariachi, pues. A veces que dicen, ¿quién empezó? Pues aquí con esto se sabe y no importa quién empezó, ¿verdad? Pero fue un comité y se dio mucho de trabajo. Escobar sabe, nos estuvimos juntando como por 4 meses. Salió muy bonita. Muchas gracias a la comunidad, muchas gracias a todos que ayudaron. Fire Department, Police Department, se les reconoció muy bien ahí la oficina del senador y del asambleísta, y para eso debemos darles gracias. Hablo en español porque el chairman fue el señor Beaver, fue el chairman del committee, y creo que él va a dar las palabras. Gracias.
Thank you.
Gabrielle Williams.
Good afternoon, City Council members. I'm here today on the topic of student safety, and as you may have heard today in today's news, there was an SRO who took down a potential shooter in a high school in Illinois. I'm here to remind ourselves one of the most important responsibilities that we have as public officials, and that is to ensure the safety of the members of our community. My community consists of over 3,000 students, as I shared last time. The current collaboration that we have with the Calexico Police Department has been very positive and impacted our school safety measures, even more so this year as we have an SRO at our school. In the current school system, as you may know, we measure everything through data, and data this year shows that the number of truancies has decreased as our SRO intervenes. The number of referrals and issues that we have at the school site has decreased as the local police officers intervene. They talk to our students, they guide our students, and of course our SROs work at the school site in both campuses and in fact the secondary schools. Last time I was here, I also talked a little bit about how efficient it is to establish positive collaboration between two entities. The Calexico PD and Calexico High School has accomplished just that. Our students consistently are approaching our Calexico PD officers and SROs. They talk to them during school events. They seek their advice. They see them as role models, as members of their own community, and as authority figures. And it's not because they wear a uniform, but because they have earned that respect with our young adults. As you know, young adults, you can't really lie to them. They're already young adults, and they know when you're telling the truth and when an adult really wants to help them out. A perfect example today for something happened at the high school. We had 3 officers responding to an emergency. At the end of the emergency, one of the officers sat down with the student and listened to him. That officer today was a counselor, he was a friend, he was a role model, and all while he performed the duties of a Calexico police officer. And this is the type of collaboration, this is the type of relationship the Calexico PD officers have with Calexico High School staff, and that's why they're efficient. Can another entity accomplish anything like that? Absolutely, but as you know, it takes time to establish that trust, that build-ship, that rapport with our students. I'm advocating for the continuous efforts that we have established with Calexico PD, that they not be interrupted for the safety of our students. As you heard in the news and as I mentioned, the school shooting, they're happening every week, unfortunately. And this is not the time to reinvent the wheel. When it comes to safety as public officials, we should not jeopardize the student safety. We should not take a step back in our collaboration with Calexico PD. And we have, again, a collaboration that showed today we had some very positive results, and it's working, it's producing results, and will only improve with our support. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just one
Beaver?
comment, Ms. Williams. Ms. Williams, when you make your budget, get your SIP, EIA, Chapter 1, Chapter 2 money from the library to fund these officers, because you're paying, we train, they're yours.
Absolutely.
So whatever you can come up with, that's the first thing you want to throw up on your budget, hire SROs.
We are, and if I may, we have allocated for a second SRO. I have a parent organization, PTO, that's very strong right now, and thanks to their support and advocating and collaborating with the district office, we're requesting a second SRO, and they have allocated those funds.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you. Mr. Beavers.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen of the council. I just want to bring up, remind you guys that the council needs to revisit an ordinance whereby the police commission was submitted to the jurisdiction of the police department instead of the city clerk, as we used to have it for many years. The police department is short-staffed right now, and we all know that. And to have them get involved, or their secretary, to attend our meetings or to start our meetings instead of Gabby, like it used to be, I think is pretty unfair. So what I like to know, that was something that Mr. Villa, our ex-city manager, I don't know if it was an ordinance, I don't know if you guys took a vote on it. You may want to check that. I don't think so. That may have been just an executive directive for the time being. But, you know, we're going back and forth. I talked to the city manager. He said, well, you have to contact the police department. Police department says, well, what happened to, are the cities going to take this over or not? Chalo's just barely the interim chief. So the actual chief that was there, Mr. Gomez, is no longer with us. So it's been stopped. And what we're trying to do is that we don't use the city council as an area where people are going to come up, and it's not the right quorum for complaints if we have a police commission. I believe we have 4 members already. I think maybe just have to be sworn in. I don't know. But check and see if there's an ordinance. We should be living the legacy of our ex-city manager, Mr. Villa. I don't think we should. But please, as a council, I'm asking you to revisit. If there is an ordinance, repeal it, do what you might think you have. But I think we should go back into jurisdiction as we have been, where the city clerk actually administers and is present at our meetings rather than the secretary of the police department. I think they're understaffed and they need all the help they can. Thank you very much.
Looks like, hi, my name is John Kim. Looks like I was going to talk other issues more heavily, but looks like I'm gonna need some help for my police departments. I'm gonna talk more on the case first. And the Calexico, we have bad budget, and we don't know how to spend our money. And for example, we have a lot spending. We're sending the money, $200,000, $600,000. Next year it's going to be $700,000 to the Grand Plaza. That's why they're surviving. So we have to cut all the bad spending. It's not a slenderous comment. Don't worry about it. But you're going to hurt. And we don't know how to do our budget. Doesn't really matter how much we're making money, and then now you guys will try to increase the water bill and trash, and by the favor of some of the council members. There's something wrong here. Cut all those bad spending. Cut those fares and sending the money to your compas. Mr. Escobar, Jesus Escobar, Luis Pacheco, Armando Real, Marisa Hurtado, Bill Hatch. Focusing on your duty, fiduciary duties to spending money, saving the money for our safety officers. Because our safety is first rule of the governments. And you guys not doing it. And what you guys doing, just coming in, the first thing is to try to cut the safety officers. That's what you guys are doing right now. Cut all the police spending. Collect the debt. The company, they owe to the city, like the Grand Plaza, they owe to the city about $8 million. And they don't pay on the lease of the land they're using it. Someone called me, he tried to convince me, Kim, we have bad officers. Everybody doesn't like it. So we need to rid of them, so about waiting a couple more years, and they put them again, build a new department. Then I told them, you know why the police officer cannot do their job? because the council members is going to be held their hands. Police chief and the city manager job to have right officers, good officers, and the council intervening that. That's why we have it. If we read about all the police council member first, then we can have a good departments.
10 seconds, Mr.
So either you guys to save our safety officers, police and fires, or quit. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening to all council members. I'm here to show my support to the Calexico Fire Department and the Calexico Police Department. Thank God I haven't let me raise this up. Thank God I haven't needed ambulance services. Thank God, but I have needed police services. There was an incident like 2 months ago, or 3 months ago per se, at my place of work. Person just walked in, some stuff happened. The police department was able to solve my issue right away within maybe 3 hours probably, due to they knew who the person was just by looking at the videos and the pictures. What I'm trying to get here is just like Ms. Williams said. Another department comes in, it's going to take them time to know the people or the criminals, you could say. It could help somebody else in a different case, not like mine, but let's say it's a rapist or some of a molester. Officers, they know who they are. They see the person right away, they can get to him right away. And I would oppose, if it will come to us, the people, deciding, I oppose to having our department removed and having a different department come in. Why? Because, like what I just said, my anecdote, what happened with me, they were able to solve my issue right away. And that's it. Showing my support.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, members of the council. Sean Acuna, Calexico, POA. To Mr. Virgin's point, want to thank everybody, actually, Ms. Williams, our educators, for the outpour of support. We're very honored and humbled by that. And to his point, exactly what he said. We're established. We know our residents. We know our crime element. And whenever we encounter a crime, we've been able to solve it more quickly because we're able to recognize who our suspects are. And it benefits the community. It increases the quality of life. And one of the other things I wanted, to the point of Mr. Beaver, he talked about, everybody knows we're short-staffed. That is true. But I also want to clear the air because it's been put out there recently that, we're operating far below minimum staff, and we're not. 3-1 is our minimum staff. Years before, it used to be 4-1. When Chief Bostic came in, they did an analysis, and they were able to determine that 3-1 was minimum staffing. So we're operating right now at minimum staffing, okay? And we just got authorized to hire more police officers, so pretty soon, you'll probably see by July, August, we'll be at 4-1 on all our patrol teams, okay? And even though that's not the optimum number, it's definitely better than what the sheriffs can provide the first year coming in, which is 3-1. So right from the chute, we're gonna have more coverage. We're already established. We know, like I said, our crime element. And if you look at the statistical data from the Department of Justice and Public National Radio, I think the stats show that we do our job adequately with the minimum resources that we currently have. We're always known for doing more with less. And I know in the future, I know we're going to be able to work, we're going to be able to come to a resolution with the city to where we can continue to grow. Calexico PD has had its trials and tribulations, but we're on the rise. Okay, we're constantly improving, and more officers are on the way. So just be patient, have faith in us, and I'd like you guys to check us out on Facebook. We put out a promotional video to kind of show a little bit of what the Calexico Police Department does on a day-to-day basis, and we've also posted some incidents that occur within the city to help educate the public of the different occurrences that happen on a day-to-day basis. And I just want people to know that it's through the Calexico Police Officers Association. We're a nonprofit organization. So the photos that you see of potential arrests, people being detained, we always preface it with that they're innocent until proven guilty, and them being filmed in public does not violate any type of privacy rules. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Alejandro Camarillo.
Hello, my name is Alejandro Camarillo. I'm a Calexico High School teacher. I'm the welding teacher, and I'm pretty new at this community, and I really appreciate SRO being our campus. Calexico PD and school resource officers support our student safety. Having SRO on campus has made a difference in the way students act and behave. Having an SRO on campus sends a message of safety is our priority. During the year, Calexico PD officers support students, helping events, and are present when needed. Calexico PD has worked with the school safety team in making our school safer. As I forgot to mention, I am proud of I'm a member of the safety team as well. And I believe that any changes to the police department will impact our students directly. So I don't have the words that I think will, but everybody knows that presence of the police in our campus makes a big difference. Just having the presence, sometimes students just have that 1 second of, changing their mind, and that's what we need to say. Maybe some other time or not today, because their presence, and thank you for your service. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to comments for city council members. Mr. Hodge?
Sure. I just want to make a comment about an article I read. I read an article by Drew McGarry on Google that was critical of sheriff's departments throughout the nation. Among many criticisms, the article claimed that the sheriff's departments were steeped in corruption. This was alarming to me. Now, this is definitely something that the Calexico Police Department wants to distance itself from and has. The article did not allude, and I'll repeat, it did not allude to the Imperial Sheriff's Department, which is a fine department. Its analysis was on a national level, but we have to be careful and aware of sheriff's corruption everywhere. Furthermore, it should be made aware that between police and sheriffs, each agency has different responsibilities and functions, and they are distinct from one another, which is why it's not fair to think that the sheriffs can do the exact job or performance level as the police department. Also, the most recent Uniform Crime Report indicates that the police department outperforms the sheriffs when it comes to selected crimes, like violent crime, property crime, burglary, and theft. Thank you.
I just want to say that I think public safety is definitely the most important thing for our citizens and for everybody in Calexico. And so I have faith that, at the end of the day, we will take care of the people of Calexico and make the right decisions up here. I think that's it's been tough for everybody the last couple of years. I know that employees have taken hits, and even the council. I'm one to have the one that pushed for us to give up our insurance and take a pay cut ourselves, and just make sure that everybody knows that we also took that that cut in that aspect. But it's important. I see crime all over the place. I mean, I wish that we had, 10 officers all the time, because we need them. I mean, I had a call the other day where, dispatch said, unfortunately right now we can't get to you because they're on a more important call. And so I know you guys have had to like kind of pick what's more important than others. And for what I called was obviously not that important. It was, we're trying to get some people out of a building, and Officer Ceja helped us out when he got there. But I know some things take precedence over others, but you guys are doing with what you have, and that's commendable, obviously. Keep up the good work, and fire department, same thing. Let's all work together and for the people of Calexico. So I also wanted to just touch on these, let's say, false numbers that are thrown out there about what Grand Plaza owes Calexico, and it's unfortunate that some people are against Grand Plaza, because I'm going to tell you guys something. This city needs tax revenue, and I don't know if you guys have seen it, but Toys R Us is closing, JCPenney's is closing, Arrecife's restaurant is closing. I mean, we have a lot of things closing. It's unfortunate. I wasn't here when Grand Plaza had their first deal done, and I'm not saying that it was a good deal for the city, but I wasn't here at that moment. All I know is that right now, at this moment, I don't see anything in the horizon that can help us tax-wise like Grand Plaza can when that new border opens, and when it closes, it encloses itself, and when phase 2 comes, and I think that's our lifeline, to be honest with you, for the future anyways. And again, I wasn't here when that deal was made, but I support Grand Plaza 100% because there's nobody else that I know of, no other investor here coming to City Hall and saying, I'm going to spend $70 million and build a mall. And that's important. That the owners, they came and spent $70 million to build that here. Again, I support them 100%. I support, the next phase they want to do. That's tax revenue for us, which we need to help you guys out, and everybody else that's having to take pay cuts. So, we have to be pro-business 100%. And Grand Plaza is, like I said, they're if they were to not have the support of the city council, one thing I'm pretty sure is if Grand Plaza was to close down, we would never see another mall in the city again, not of that magnitude anyways. And so, because of that, I support it. Whether there's some money owed back and forth, I mean, I know, I don't think there is, but we have people like Miguel Figueroa and David Dale that are working that out, and at the end of the day, we need them just as much as they need us, and it's a mutual thing, benefit for everybody. So again, just want to say that Grand Plaza, I support it. So that's it.
Thank you. Escobar.
Changing the theme here, a couple of quick meetings that I will be attending. Our IBDC board meeting, I'm not sure who's representing the city. I believe somebody is.
I think I'll be there.
The board meeting's tomorrow at 8. And our Mariachi Festival, our signature event, is going on, starts today, tomorrow, Friday, and Saturday. So looking forward to that. Again, it's our signature event in Calexico, a 4-day event, so hopefully we'll have a great attendance to those events. Thank you.
The only comment I have is there was over the weekend, a trailer, one of those little trailers with 2 wheels. And it was attached to a lamppost, and it was affixed with the chain. And oh my gosh, how can this guy attach his trailer to a IID or a city street light? And that surprised me, but I looked today and it was gone, so hopefully my phone call helped, but nobody should be strapping their trailers, chaining them to a city light.
Unless they're paying rent.
But anyway, we'll watch for that.
Don't do that again.
But it's removed. Thank you, Chief. Somebody got on the case. Nothing to report other than that. Do have mariachi, this full 4 days of mariachi. I don't know, Mr. Figueroa, you have anything to share?
Yes, I have a couple of items. Got the opportunity to attend the Southern California Association of Governments Conference last week in Indian Wells. It's very important that whenever us as public officials go and attend these events, that we come back and report what it is that, not only what we learned and discussed with colleagues up there, but what opportunities we can bring back to our community. And there are a couple of things that really stood out on my end. There's a lot of things right now going on in terms of the private sector innovation strategies that cities are using to address some of the things that the council members just shared right now, and that we've been in need of in this city for quite some time. Being a little bit more proactive in adapting to the economic trends that exist, especially as a border community here. But the one thing that I do want to highlight is that this city does have projects that obviously are ready to be implemented. As we all know, we lack the funding and the resources for that. So this is where it comes about having the creativity and being able to find different pots of money that are out there so we can carry on with some of these projects. And actually SCAG is one of the potential funding sources that we will be looking into. Mr. Hodge also attended the conference, and one of the things that stood out is the active transportation program. This is a program that SCAG has in which it pays for capital infrastructure projects, it pays for sidewalks, it pays for a number of things that this city is in need of. So one of the things that we're going to be following up on, or at least I am, is at the end of this month, I'm going to be attending a meeting here locally in which we're going to be discussing with SCAG, people coming down from their LA office about potential projects that this city has. So we can look at that pot of money as a potential source to possibly build some of these projects. One of the things also that I want to point out is, as we discussed at the last council meeting, we had the Regional Water Quality Control Board come down to these chambers to conduct their board meeting. And afterwards, as some of you became aware, we did a tour of some of the improvement projects that are going to take place at the border and as part of the Parkway project. And we got that there are $2 million to begin the construction of the Parkway project, as we all know. That falls under a state adopted plan. However, that money's not going to pay for the whole project in itself. But guess what? Going back to this opportunity that SCAG provides, that pot of money can also offset the gap that we have to finish that project. So this is where we need to begin to look at opportunities, and we need to follow up on them. Because the more we get into that, the more we see that the date tie into existing projects that are going on right now in our city. Last meeting, we also had Ms. Sandra Flores. She is a community resident. She provided us a letter with a number of signatures relating to substantial street improvements that are needed in the Las Haciendas sector here in Calexico. And I had the opportunity to meet with her and follow up this past Wednesday, May 9th. And we sat down and I went over with her the list of 24 streets that are going to be paved as part of the 2018 street improvement project that the city has. It happens to be that the 5 streets that the people from Las Haciendas are asking us, the city, to consider for improvement fall under this project that's going to begin in May and it's going to conclude in October. So we were able to provide Ms. Flores the list of the streets so she could convey to her neighbors that petitioned this and included this in a letter that this is actually something that would be addressed by the city, by this city program somewhere between May and October. At this point, that's all I have to report.
Anything from you, Mr. Lawyer, Carlos?
No.
Mr. Lawyer? Okay, no, consent agenda, warrants, 2, 3, and 4, is there a motion? to accept?
Motion to approve 2, 3, and 4?
Wait,
So moved.
wait.
Aye.
I will be voting no on number 3, so.
Okay, need to take Mr. Kim has a. Carlos, did we take the vote or
Yeah, we should take the speaker cards first.
Kim?
Okay. Number 3 is the city clerk's appointments. City of Calexico had bad experience with the past one of the city managers. He using all his power, appointing and power to intervene the city clerk to not to posting the agenda, or not to posting about not to include the agenda. We had the issues, even we have to go to the court. That's because the city clerk is not safety on her positions. Somebody have a fighting power on her. That's why we changed it. When I was mayor, we changed the ordinance to be included city council together, so at least city clerk can work with own safety. And now city council, last time they approved it to remove it, which is to city council member, they cannot have anything, and city clerk has to be worried about city managers to order. It shouldn't be that. But I believe council members should be awareness. This is not to take away from the city managers. The city manager has to complement agreement with the city council member to, in case they have some power on the appointment and the fire duties, they cannot have alone. City manager cannot have alone. That has to be secure for our city clerk's job to in the neutral. So please consider that position to be, don't also accept this one, to just stay as it is. That is nothing means that the city manager cannot control over the city clerks. But city clerk has to have a certain safety on her positions, or his positions. Thank you. Should I talk to the board? Or are you going to individually decide it?
There's 2 for 4, yes, item 4.
Go ahead, item 4.
Number 4. I'm not opposing to write the grant, but I feel ashamed on our cities. Where is great city of Calexico? Where is the great city of Calexico? We are asking the county to public fund, public benefit fund for the loan for our cities. Something wrong down there. Some council member said, I hate the Green Plaza. I don't hate the Green Plaza. But I hate to see the city of Calexico not collecting the money and giving the money away from us, and same time Green Plaza killed all the mom and pop stores. They want to kill a lot of income sales taxes, because a lot of mom and pop stores, they close it. That's why our total sales tax not increase it. Right now it's decreasing. So please return our city, return back to as a great city of Calexico. Thank you.
No.
So
How,
we're,
yeah.
Thank you. It's regarding the project on Cesar Chavez, well, my business is there. And my business will be affected due to I've been told several times already there's gonna be a center meeting. I've been trying to see who I can talk to about that so you guys can revise that because it will affect my business. I'm only gonna have a right in, right out. I'm not asking for the center meeting to be removed, but at least so I can have access to my business because I'm only gonna have access southbound, not northbound. And I don't have a street. The only street that's next to us is 5th Street. There's no other street. The closest one is Grant and 2nd Street. So, and when there's traffic, what are we gonna do, you know? Because traffic starts at 3:30. We're still open for business around that time. How are my customers gonna get to me? You know, I'm gonna be affected. My business will be affected. Really, I'm not arguing much about the land. That's my father's. Mainly is my business. And it's that, the revision about the center median. What else? I was gonna say something else. Kind of blacked out a little bit. I haven't done this in a while, public speaking. But in Peru, you know how they have a center median? Well, the businesses, they all have access through other roads. You know, that's, what is it, Emerson Road, 4th, 5th, 7th, and all those. Cole Road, Denny's. There was a center median there a while back in the days when they rebuilt the Cole Road, but they already knocked it down because it wasn't good business for the gas station nor for Denny's. So my business, I know it will be affected, you know, and my business has been there since 1967. You know, it's been going out through families. My godfather started, my father kept it going, I kept it going, he retired, I'm there now. And I would really hate for my business to close down, you know, just like if any of you guys have businesses, you wouldn't want your business closed down. So that's what I'm asking here, so you guys can revise that plan. I don't know, we can have a sit down, we can come up with ideas on how I cannot be that affected in that way, you know. I asked for a relocation when all this started. I was denied. It was denied to me. So I don't know if it's just that you guys, I don't know if, not you guys, but whoever's doing the project, they want my business to close down or what it is, because it will be affected. It will be affected majorly. So.
Mayor Maya? I strongly encourage you to go see Mr. Figueroa and Mr. Dale. I think it's imminent as far as your traffic is concerned. Your concerns are rightfully there. I mean, once the new port of entry opens in the 3rd or 4th quarter of this year, you just based on your location, you will be significantly affected by the traffic flow. Yeah. So it's important that you talk to Mr. Figueroa and Mr. Dale as quickly as possible and come up with some sort of interim solution so that your business is as least affected as possible.
Yeah, because I did a little bit of reading about there's destination businesses and drive-by businesses. Mine's a destination business. That's the one that's mostly affected when there's a center meeting like that and when there's traffic. So if I can, I don't know, get an appointment, when can I do it? Because I tried getting an appointment with Mr. Dale, but he was going to be out for the whole week, I believe. Right. I don't know when he'll be back. Well, if
Mr. Figueroa's right here, and you can definitely set something up with him.
Yes, go ahead. Can I just add? I know firsthand what you're talking about. You know, our family business is on 98. You used to be able to go through Emerson and cross 98 to go to through Scaroni Road, and then on Denny's the same thing. They blocked it off on both sides, completely killed all that street, Robinson Ford and everything. All I know is that Caltrans has specific. When Caltrans says there's going to be that there,
that's it.
It's believe me, I've been fighting this for probably 10 years, and I'm just saying, I'm not saying that nothing can be done. I'm just saying it's up to the city to talk to Caltrans. But for example, there where Denny's is right now, Mr. Campillo, you know, he's been wanting to get rid of that center thing there because it affects Denny's. And I don't know if you know, everybody actually uses Denny's to go in and go to Scaroni Road.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. I mean, you would, if anything, I think it's, you know, it's even a liability because we're actually using his property to go, to get to that road, and they're gonna run over someone there, and I don't know, but I guess what I'm trying to say is this is the right guy to talk to, so he can talk to Caltrans, and hopefully, before the plans are, I don't know, he's the right person to do it, and see if Caltrans can work something out.
To what extent the plans have already set in that's the issue, but do meet with Mr. Figueroa and possibly Mr. Dale, and I don't know if anybody else needs to be involved.
Mr. Virgen, we can actually set up an appointment with you right now. As soon as you're done with your participation, a staff member will approach you and we'll set up a meeting with you.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, Pablo. Buena suerte. Where are we now, Ms. Garcia? Anybody else on a?
Okay, on consent, do we need to pull number 3 so I can vote no on it?
Yes, so,
We'll take these one by one then, I guess, since there's,
Excuse me?
okay, is there?
let's
a-
just do one by one.
Yeah. Is
So-
there a motion to accept the warrants, item number 2?
I will make a motion to
Second.
accept item number 2.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Is there a motion to accept number 3?
I make a motion to accept 3.
I want to make I want a second for discussion.
Second.
I know firsthand from actually living in, you know, being on city council at the time when Mr. Kim is talking about having a city manager that
Me too.
that is completely I don't know what words to say, but completely against you know, certain council members and blocking the work that the council wants to do. And I do recall those times. I recall having to try and get a writ and go to court because he didn't want to, you know, bring a city council meeting when council members wanted it. But I think that this is something that if the council wants to bring it back to the voters and vote for a actual city clerk, which I'm not against, by the way, it's just, it's how that happens. I think that there needs to be guidelines set for that position. Not just anybody in Calexico can run and be city clerk. I think there needs to be certain requirements, maybe educational requirements or experience requirements or things of that nature. And I'm not against it. But for now, we don't have a city manager that's doing that. We don't, you know, could it happen in the future? Maybe. But I agree that maybe it's not a bad thing to look into. For now, I think, I mean, is this something that, you know, is there time constraint? Is there a reason why it's on here? Or is time sensitive, or as far as approving it right now?
Yeah, I mean, not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
My feeling is that we can appoint, there's two people that can work with the city manager to select a person. Now, if for some reason, something is happening and things aren't being agendized, being put on the agenda, then we need to revisit this and say, all right, it's not working.
Well, I think what Mr. Kim is saying, and Hodge and I are here.
Experienced
I think
it.
all three of us can tell you that it
We
did happen.
experienced it.
And so that's why I'm reluctant to say that, you know, this is the way we're doing it is the right way. But you know, I think that this is not the time to, you know, vote on something like this and say, hey, we're going to go out to the voters for this. But I think that it's the city council's job to maybe look at this further. I don't know if maybe we want to do bring it back, or maybe do a subcommittee to look at the possibility, or just, you know, have it die now. I mean, I don't know. I would like to see the city clerk be an elected position, just because of what happened to me and Bill can vouch for me. But I think it needs to be done right. I think it needs to be somebody that has a certain level of education, somebody that has, you know, and I don't know, attorney, you would be inclined to maybe give us direction on that. You know, can we say the city clerk that runs for that position has to have, I don't know, bachelor's degree or at least, you know, certain experience as far as, I mean, is there ways to put that?
It would be like a city treasurer. I mean, city treasurer is an elected position in some cities, and you need to have specific guidelines.
That's how this.
Or a job responsibility as to how we can.
Job description.
How you justify being a candidate for that job.
Correct.
5 years, 7 years experience.
Like a judge, they got to
et cetera.
obviously have passed the bar.
10 years, well, 10 years experience.
So that's an option, and I'm okay with that. But does that mean that we can't approve this now? No, right? We can approve this now and then work on that.
Correct. Initially, it was an elected position. In about 2012, a ballot measure was taken to the voters that made it from elective to appointed position.
Okay, so we'd have to take it back.
Correct. So in terms of whether the appointment is from the city council or from the city manager, that's within your discretion.
So we could, in theory, we could take this back, let's say, this coming November.
Correct. If you wanted to move to an elective city clerk position, we'd have to put a ballot measure on the ballot for this
So it doesn't
November.
cost us more than what a normal election would cost us.
We would have, I mean, there might be a couple, we already have to have an election in November, so it's not going to be.
That's what I'm saying. It's,
So that's a potential.
Well, I'll make a motion to continue this item maybe to the next council meeting, and then have staff talk to the council and see what, you know, what the council feels. But I myself would like to see that if we could make that an elected position and we could make sure and put certain guidelines, I'm for it.
Well, I think we need to take a step back here and really think about what we're doing here. Do we have a need for an elected position? Do we have a need currently? Is there an issue? The answer is no.
I agree with you.
Now, let me.
But
just
there
finish real
has
quick.
been issues.
Let me finish real quick. There has been issues that I wasn't privy to. I'm not sure if Mr. Pacheco was, but you're saying yourself, Mr. Hodge, and a couple of ex-council members were. Having said that, if this moves forward, as the city council, you have the authority to move it back, correct?
The appointed, correct. Moving it from the city manager to city council, that's within your purview to amend the ordinance.
So my question is, what happened at, well, actually, I take that back. I don't want to know what happened because it's not neither here nor there.
It's hard to
We
explain.
have the authority as the city council
It's
to
weird,
authorize
surreal.
our city manager and then take it back if things do not work out in the future, because right now everything's fine. But things can happen 2, 3, 5, 10 years down the road.
Well,
The city council has the authority to take it back.
that's true. I'm voting no on it on principle, and I just think that city clerk is a very, very important job, position, and I think it's more democratic that the citizens in the future would elect a city clerk. So.
And like I said, that I actually lived it. I remember, you know, going to our city clerk and hey, why wasn't this put on the wall?
Yeah.
You know, and almost feeling like she was being threatened. If you do this, you're gonna get fired, because that city manager could have fired her.
Now,
right? So
now you could play devil's advocate and say the city council or a city council member can adversely affect this person or this position as well, right?
a city council can't fire that person. They're elected.
No. Right now they can't because they.
No. The only person the city council fires and hires is the city manager. That's it.
Could you opine on that? If the city clerk is reporting to the city council.
Yeah, the current appointment is made by the city council right now.
That's what I mean. So we have the authority now. Not that we want to use that authority, but you have that authority. So if you had issues in
Gabby,
the
could you go like this, please? No, I'm just.
No, if you had issues in the past with the city manager, you could bring it to the city council. If you had issues with the city council, you bring it back to the city
Here's the
manager.
problem. Who makes the agenda?
Well, the
It's
problem
the clerk.
with me is that.
And so if the city manager, because I'm telling you, it happened to us. If the city manager
He
says.
stonewalled.
The
He
city manager says,
prevented us from putting things on the
city clerk,
agenda.
you do not put this on the agenda. I don't care if 2 or 3 council members
Yeah,
come.
that was a bad city manager.
Then, you know, what I'm trying
It
to say
was
is it's
bad.
happened.
It was bad.
And maybe you know, maybe we relook at it and see if that's something we want to do. If not, hey, three people make the decision here, not two or,
Well,
but.
the issue for me is that the individual has to be working within the city, because we can't bring an outsider just gonna come in and do the agenda, and then, you know, it has to be somebody that's inside City Hall, that's working with the folks here, and has.
But right now, the city manager still has authority to fire the city clerk if he wants to.
That's correct. Because the city clerk currently reports to the city council.
Yeah, but the city
No,
manager can
no.
fire her. Yes.
Carlos just confirmed that right now.
No, city manager can fire city clerk.
Because the position reports.
Yeah, I think right now, I don't have the entire code in front of me, but I think the way it's codified, I don't have the code, it's the city council right now has that authority.
Not, the city manager cannot fire the city clerk?
Correct.
Okay.
And
It's the city council right now.
And it's reporting back to.
there's another, I don't have the entire code in front of me.
So with this, it's going
section
back to
already
the city
exempts.
manager?
Yes,
That's the.
and that's why I'm against it, Mandy.
I'm against that too then. Yeah.
Well, let's take a vote, and then we'll go with that.
I'm gonna guess it's 2-2 here.
All those in favor of item number 3?
Let me just clarify that too, just to confirm, yeah, the current powers of appointment, the current code right now provides, it should be the duty of the city council, city manager to appoint, remove, or demote any of the officers except the city attorney and city clerk.
Okay.
Currently, it resides in the city council.
It resides with the city council.
Okay.
So given the fact that in recent history, we've had an issue with agendas and issues with authority, I would make a motion that we decline this.
I'll second that
Item
motion.
number 3.
Well,
I'll
okay,
second that
No,
motion.
no, no. We have a first and a second. Now let's take a vote. All
Yeah.
those in favor of accepting item number 3?
We never got a second.
Mr. Real second.
Yeah.
For discussion, though.
Yeah.
I can, well, okay,
Discussion. Now we're going to take a vote.
okay.
And then you can go back.
All those in favor of accepting item number 3?
No.
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 Aye. Okay. Fails. Item number 4,
Pórtate bien, Gaby. Pórtate bien.
resolution delegating authority of city manager and his designee to submit an application for the community benefit program for funding of traffic control during Cesar Chavez Boulevard expansion, and authorizing the city manager or his designee to execute all necessary documents relating to the submission, acceptance, and execution of the grant.
I will make a motion to approve. I just have a question.
Okay, so
I know that about 2 years ago, when Armando Villa just came in as city manager, one of the things that we talked about was the specific strain that Calexico has with regards to having to have traffic control that no other city has to have, right? All the time because of having the international border, being a border town. I know that it's about $300,000 or more, sometimes $500,000 a year that we spend on that, that no other city has to, and we did go to ICTC and get a grant from them, I think for 2 years. I think it was $150,000 a year. This would be on top of that, correct? Okay.
Yes.
So just making sure that we're still working with ICTC on them helping us.
No, they're
and-
doing
and-
a study
and
right
this as
now.
well. But that's something a lot of people don't understand, that Calexico, our streets are, badly damaged because we have a lot more semi-trucks and, big rigs coming through here, and also the strain of having this traffic of people coming in and out. So
Well,
I'm for it. It's
the funding's only 130,000, but that's money we don't have, and I think we should
It's money we can use.
apply
I like how we say only.
application. We have a,
Motion.
motion to
One-
accept. Is
one
there a
comment-
second?
One comment before
Okay.
we go to. a
I'll
vote.
second it.
Given the issues we've had recently with community benefit and ag benefit that I think most of us are familiar with, we should have a fallback option.
Hold on, you're saying not we.
We, the city of Calexico,
Yeah,
should
but
have a
not the
fallback
council.
option. We, the
That's
city
at a
of
county
Calexico.
level. That's at
Well,
a county level.
Right, but we're asking the county for $130,000. And there's a couple of loans that were recently defaulted on, which the county will be lucky to get 10 cents on the dollar at best.
There's
So-
a motion on board for accepting number 4. Second, is there a vote?
Aye.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, 4-0. Thank you. Discussion items, number 5. Any background for this?
Yes, absolutely. The Political Reform Act calls for all public agencies to adopt and maintain.
I'm sorry, Mr. Kim? Speaker.
Again, this is my last one. Don't worry about it. Okay, Mr. Real, you're laughing now, and then let me talk things what happens. When I was council, when I approving the what's called the taking away parking meter temporarily, Mr. Real marking me several times already for that, which is my wife had a business in downtown, I should be conflict of interest. And then they try to make me fund even my wife's business. It is public parking. Doesn't affect my business, actually nothing. And now, when I was mayor or council member, I at least 4 times requested by the trash company, Allied Waste, to increase the fees.
What does this have to do with the biannual review of city conflict of interest?
Wait.
You have to speak on
Okay,
item 5. Okay.
I am speaking on that.
Trash cans?
Yeah, so don't be like a child, okay? Thank you. And when I was mayor, I've been asked Mr. Jesus Escobar, representing Allied Waste, to asking about the fee, charging more fees, extension contract too. And I rejected. I said it's not the time to talking about the fees, increase it. And Mr. Escobar now in the council, and council approved it to increase the trash company. Extension of the 5 years contract without the bidding. And there's another company charging almost half of it.
At the time, he
Okay.
was not a member of the city council.
Also to the,
That doesn't matter. City council approved now, city council approved now to
This is
increase the trash
campaigning.
fees. There's more rules.
yeah, Mr. Kim,
Get to your
if we
Thank
get
you.
back,
So, okay, that's what I'm saying is, that's not the complete interest, isn't it?
Mr. Kim, if we get back to the item, it's a biannual review of the city's conflict of interest code.
What does that have to do with the trash?
Yes. As
we
a
can
council member cannot vote, Mr. Escobar cannot vote on the trash matters.
He no longer
Please.
works there.
Okay,
Can you
Okay.
please read the conflict of interest? Go to the FPPC website and read the conflict of interest.
okay, conflict of interest.
Okay?
Okay, he might say he no longer work there, he was working for them to try to charge more trash fee to our community.
Was.
Thank you.
Past tense.
Yeah, I just want to remind the public, if you're going to have a speaker card, an agenda item, we need to speak to the agenda item. If you have general comments, those can be made during the public comment portion at the beginning on any item of interest. But any speaker cards on agenda item need to talk to that item.
Mr. Figueroa, you were going to explain.
Yes, very briefly, the Political Reform Act calls for all public agencies to maintain and adopt a conflict of interest code. This item specifically will, if approved, will give direction to the city manager to begin the process of conducting such review. After such review is conducted, it's by law required to be submitted to the state by October 1st of this year.
I'll make the motion
Is there a second?
to accept items number 5.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Mr. Figueroa. Item number 6 is public hearing. So we need to, we're going to introduce and waive the first reading of an ordinance of the City Council of Calexico, zoning text amendment ordinance pertaining to the accessory dwelling unit regulations and ordinance amending section 7.01.900, definition, chapter 17.03, residential zone.
Motion to approve.
Any discussion on this issue? Mr. Figueroa?
Mr. Morales will provide a statement on this item.
Open the public comment.
Okay, Ralph.
Public hearing.
Mayor Pro Tem, council members, this item was brought before the council at previous meetings. Basically, this is the ADU, or the accessory dwelling unit, that was put into effect by the governor. And what basically this is that it allows in a R1 zone for a second unit to go on the property as long as they meet all the requirements, and that unit can be rented out, it can be utilized, and, or better yet, can have a second kitchen. So basically what we're doing is we're bringing this before you. The last time there was some discussion regarding whether or not it would limit to the owner to live on the property, or whether this would be open up for everyone. So we're bringing it back. It does have that section in there, so we are asking the council what their desire is to remove this or to leave it in place. So basically, the rest of it is mostly all part what the state put together.
This is
Mayor.
this is the new state's guidelines
Correct.
for the new dwelling, and all the verbiage, all the granny flats, all that is no longer.
Mayor,
We're going to use new language, and this is
Mayor
the new
Pro
language.
Tem. Mayor Pro Tem,
Yes.
do we have to open the public public hearing before?
Is there any comments on this public hearing?
Yes, it has to be open.
We
for
have to open the
hearing.
public hearing. At
Please.
Do we have to say a time? We do, huh? Yeah.
It is 7:50.
Yeah, I'm not long-winded. This is the reason I actually came. I don't really come to these meetings much, and I do appreciate what city council does. I personally wouldn't do it. What a headache. You're not getting enough money, trust me. My name is Gary, with 2 R's, last name Crettencord. And I'm already seeing firsthand what's going on without proper code enforcement, with people abusing single residential family homes. Now, the way I understand the bill, and I have it in front of me, it was Senate Bill 1069 for the ADU, accessory dwelling unit. It's grandiose in its plan for humanitarian reasons, and it's also short-sighted if you want to deteriorate basically neighborhoods quickly. The way it looks, I understand it was help people recoup money if they were going through this tough recession that started in 07, 08. A lot of people lost a lot then. And it was to help people to maybe make money, and other people who could afford only half a home, maybe to move in to somebody else's home. That being said, it's grand in scope and humanitarian reasons, but it's not very wise. You would see a quick deterioration of neighborhoods. You would see an abuse beyond normal code enforcement issues that we already see today. You would see people who went out of their way to not move into a house too close to apartment dwellings because they already know what that brings. That brings excessive population, parking, and even a higher crime rate. That's already been proven through statistics. You'd be bringing those into the residential neighborhoods. The way I understand this bill is it's statewide, but it still doesn't have to be adopted in full or even in total, I should say in partial, for through the city, because the city would bear a lot of the burden. I, for one, as a homeowner who has more than one home in the city of Calexico, so I should say homeowners, homeowner of homes, would also foresee, if this was adopted to be the new norm and watch the deterioration of neighborhoods, I myself would be one of many who would request a reassessment of the valuation of my home for a lower tax burden, which would actually hurt the city in long run, especially as more people became vocal and passed that on, because your homes would go down in value. So all I'm asking for the city is to think this thoroughly through and hopefully see that, I understand it was a great idea, but I don't think it was seen through the end of pure deterioration of neighborhoods. I know that Ralph mentioned he thought homeowners themselves should have to live in the house, and let's see how comfortable they are with another person who's not family, another home group, another family group living in their home. That would lower it, but if you're going to have people like renting the house and saying, what the heck, I'll put 2 families in there, maybe 3, what are you going to have in the neighborhoods in no time at all? Thank you.
Any other comments on the issue of
I would like
this
to.
item?
Mayor, could I?
Council members?
I didn't get your last name? Grandcourt, Gary. I personally, coming back to the whole code enforcement, I know, I think everybody that lives in Calexico knows that I know why the ADU, why the state is passed this, and obviously it's for areas where you know, people can't afford to buy a home anymore in certain areas, San Diego, LA, you know, these big cities. But I personally feel that you are right. There is a lot of people right now that are doing a lot of illegal home enclosures. They're closing garages, they're making sheds, but the reason they're doing that is because this didn't exist. And so they'd come to the city, hey, you're not allowed to do it. They're going to do it anyways. The way I see it is the ADUs now, the city will be able to allow them, charge them a fee, make some money, and also, you know, one of the things that you mentioned was apartments. Apartments, this doesn't mean that you're going to see apartments being built in residential areas. The areas, they have a certain zoning for apartments for, I guess you would call it dense multi-use. But I really see this as now telling the community, listen, you no longer have to do something illegal, which I feel that the illegal enclosures and everything that's going on, and I know maybe the fire department here would tell you, the problem with that is that because the city doesn't know that they're building these illegal enclosures, guess what? Now you have them using all kinds of electrical, another AC with 100 amp
substandard,
you know, and they start pulling wires and fire hazards, somebody shocking themselves. Let me just say that accepting this ADU, adopting this the way it is doesn't mean it's set in stone. I see other cities adopting it the same way we are, is the same way the state wrote it. And I think with time, I don't think we're going to have a line of people trying to build ADUs, but I think with time and with the staff that we have, I'm sure that if they start having some issues, I'm sure they'll let us know to start maybe modifying it how we see fit. But I feel that it's best to open it this way, learn from it, and then modify it, than to over-modify it to where we might not have people wanting to do this, and they'll just continue and say, you know what, let's just continue doing it illegally. And so, you know, that's where the way I see it. Now we're doing it so that people can come and build it the right way. And hopefully that's what happens.
The other issue is that we're following our general plan, and we're also utilizing our zoning codes for this. So there is a madness to all this, and we're going to try to follow the guidelines that the city and the state is giving us to follow.
I had one question. Is there a minimum square footage or maximum square footage of an ADU?
If we don't have any additional public comments, we may want to close the public hearing and have council deliberation.
Any other speaker on this item? We'll close it at 7:55. Any comments from?
Just that question. Somebody did ask me if there was a maximum square footage or minimum.
Yes, there is a maximum.
Okay.
And,
The 1,200?
yeah, I think it's,
Oh,
you're
wow,
right,
that's
it's
big.
about 1,200.
But-
Or it cannot exceed 50% of what the principal structure is.
Perfect, okay. Yeah, so they can't build something crazy, because one thing somebody told me was, you know, that making sure that, I think that would look ugly, where you take a house, it's got a backyard, and they do the whole backyard, like, you know.
Really cluttered.
No, they
When I hear ADU, and I'm going back to my appraiser days, I'm thinking granny flat, which is, you know, for the grandmother, or, you know, just one bedroom, you know, something small. That's, you know.
And basically, with the ADU is, I mean, the definition for an ADU in this type here is a second kitchen, because just because you do an ADU doesn't mean you have to rent it out. It could be used by family members, in which a lot of times that happen, especially now with the economy the way it is, that they do an accessory dwelling, and then family members move in and they help out with the mortgage or taxes or whatever it may be. So, you know, it identifies an ADU as a second kitchen.
Kitchen.
So that's what it is. So, and there are certain requirements that they're gonna have to meet. We still have the requirements as far as the setbacks that needs to be done. Also be mindful that the ADUs have 3 different types that's going to be there. You have the detached with everybody, you know, that you can do. You have an ADU that could be in addition to the main structure. And then there's also what they call
Attached.
the junior ADU, where you get the principals or the main structure, and you divide that structure, where part of that, let's say you have a structure that's 2,000 square feet. So you could divide that and put a kitchen in that, and then could have access to the outside. So, and that also is for your garage enclosures.
Garage enclosure.
So it would cover those 3 items. And I think at this point right now,
Are the
what,
fees-
staff is requesting as to whether the council wants to see the ADUs be done only by property owners, or where the property owner would live in the property, or whether it would be opened up for.
And I think last time that we brought up this topic, I think I said that, who's gonna police that? And that was the issue. Again, I feel that we should stop trying to make people lie to us as a city and say, oh, no, yeah, I'm gonna live there. Okay, boom, you sign it off, guess what? Next month, they rent it out to someone else. That's the reality. It's something you can't stop. We can't police it. We have one code enforcement for the city. That's, I said, you know what? Why make them lie to us? Let's just, let's just make it so that, you know, if they want to rent it out, then they can rent it out. But, you know, as long as they abide by, you know, the state law and our city municipal code and all those things, I mean, I don't see why not. But I had another question, and it just kind of skipped my mind. What about, they can't be 2-story, right?
Well, there's nothing that says
or
they
there's
can't.
nothing that says that.
If you have an existing 2-story, there's nothing that says that you couldn't, in your addition to it, that you couldn't do a 2-story. We wouldn't recommend that you have a single story and an
then build a
ADU,
2-story.
A 2-story ADU. You couldn't have that.
Yeah, because that wouldn't look
But
good. Yeah.
If you're adding to it and it's a 2-story structure, then, you know, I couldn't see that you couldn't do a 2-story structure.
The fees, the city fees that you charge now, would those increase at all? Are you leaving them the same?
The fees would still be the same. The only time where the impact fees would come in hand would be mostly more on the detached units.
What would you say is an average, someone would pay for fees like, to do something like
For impact
this?
fees, you're looking at about, probably about 10,000.
10,000? And
Yeah.
what about city fees?
City fleas.
Fleas, we don't want those.
That too. City fees will probably run you, well, I would say probably about a little over $1,000.
You're looking at about
With plan check.
$11,000 ballpark per ADU that the city could make.
Thank you, Ralph.
Okay.
For now.
All right.
Take it to a vote now.
I have a motion.
Yes.
I had a motion. I don't know if someone seconded it.
I'll second it.
Aye.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Ralph.
Okay, so I guess my question is still, is the council want to see the section where it says the owner must live on the property to be taken out? And then, or do they want to see that the property owner lives in the main structure? And that's why we're bringing it back and starting all over again, because there was a question that the council had the last time.
How
And I
does the
think it's
state read it? How
important
does the
so that
state
we
read?
can take this section out.
How does the state read? How does the state read?
The state takes it both ways. They're not saying that the property owner has to live there. They are recommending, or not that they're recommending, but suggesting in certain sections, remember there's three different sections of the ADU, that the jurisdiction could require that the property owner lives on it. And it's true, as the Councilmember Real brought up, it is going to be hard to monitor. And it's almost going to be impossible, and almost now with garage enclosure, we have to wait or depend on neighbors or individuals to call us and say, hey, there's an illegal garage enclosure, and it's going to be the same thing with the ADUs. We don't have the manpower in
We're
code
understaffed.
enforcement. Even with the second code enforcement,
Yeah, so it will become legal and we can,
Well, let's leave it as is
Police
for
it.
now until we hear
Yeah.
any complaints on the issue.
Yeah.
Leave it as is for now.
I agree.
Yeah, so
I
that,
think
so
we'll do that, Ralph.
What is as is? Let's confirm. What
the
is-
way the state says that anybody can, yeah,
Okay.
you can rent it out or something.
That'll be fine. Thank you.
Just allow me to read the ordinance title into the record.
Keep our eyes open and see, hopefully, we maintain
It
standards.
doesn't go into the realm of madness.
Yeah, let me just read the title into the record. Ordinance amending section 17.01.900 definitions and chapter 17.03 residential zones of the Calexico Municipal Code to revise the city's accessory dwelling unit regulations as required by state law. And then in the second ordinance amending, adding chapter 17.03 of the Calexico Municipal Code pertaining to accessory dwelling unit regulations. Thank you.
We all voted. Mr. Campos?
Aye, again, or?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any future agenda items?
I would just like to add that I believe I have a police commissioner that I need to appoint, correct? Okay. 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 And I think the last time we talked about possibly the pilot program for the closure of Rockwood and First.
You've been requesting that a long time,
We've been
Mr.
only 4 years, almost 4 years.
3.5.
I want to see that city square there, one day, someday.
A couple months ago, I mentioned the updating our employee manual, employee handbook. I think the last time it was updated was 2006. Now that we have an HR director, I think it's important that we look at it.
Absolutely. She's aware of that, and we'll be more than glad to provide an update.
Mr. Vera, any updates on anything, any potential housing, any potential new business, anything to report on, if there's anything to report on? Not right now.
At this moment, there are 2 projects that we can come back and report upon.
Okay, no, I'd like to say something. Mr. Figueroa, I just want to impress, and this will lead over to Councilman De Real to say something, and that is that we continue to discuss, find different options for our pool. We spent over $7 million, close to $9 million, and it is a shame if it's going to be closed. So it's something that we need to be diligent about and keep working on it. And with that in mind, did you have something to say?
Just, I echo Mr. Hodges' comments. You know, that pool, our Senator Ben Wesso really worked hard to get us that $2.3 million that he helped us with. The city spent $3 million. The school board spent $6 million. I mean, it was a lot of money that we spent on that pool. I don't know if you guys recall why that happened. We had a young kid that actually drowned in the American Canal.
Yeah.
And so that was a push for getting that pool. We have a pool. We spent the money. We built it, and you know we're stepping over $5 to pick up 10 cents by not having it open for the kids. So that what are we gonna wait? Another kid drowns, you know, because it wasn't open. I mean, we got to do something about it and get on the agenda or fix it. But
for other sources.
Something has to happen for it to be open for our public. So
On that note, this week we actually moved forward on a number of items pertaining to the pool. And at this moment, there is nothing to report because we want to make sure that we provide factual information from both the school district and the city. But anticipating our discussions, I believe that by our next council meeting, we will be able to provide a report on that,
Good.
on the options and how we're going to go about that.
Okay, good.
If there's no other comments, then we'll adjourn at 8:07.
8:07.
Thank you.
Okay.